Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing episode number 12 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and or competitive play based on how much MT they have, what their play style is, what version of the game they play on, all this type of stuff. If you want to be involved in a future episode of this series, make sure you follow me on Twitter. My link is always down in the description below on every single video, and be on the lookout for a tweet about this series on Friday or Saturday. Make sure you drop your team under that tweet for a chance to be included in a future video. I try to get to different people's teams as much as possible. But I can only get to about 7, sometimes 8 teams per video. So with that being said, I'm definitely going to miss out on teams, but I try to get to as many different people as possible in each episode. Also, before we hop into the video, if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 3,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I'm uploading every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. But without further ado, let's hop right into it and check out the first team that comes in today. From my boy Remington, he says he's kind of crowded in a good way, not sure where everyone's optimum, so possibly needs help with placement. He wants Cliff off a triple threat, but that's going to be a while. He's talking about Cliff Robinson. Okay, so my whole thing, the first thing that I noticed with this team is you have about 4 point guards. I'm going to try to build this into a 10-man. I know that I've played against this guy before. He's definitely got a different play style, kind of plays like RCA, I would say, to a certain extent, almost on Xbox. Definitely creative with the way he plays, and it's kind of fun to play against. But that being said, I'm going to try to build this into a 10-man, and then you could kind of put the last 3 however you want. But the one thing I will say is you have 4 point guards right now: Gary, Dame, Ja, and Trey. And as much as you may like Trey, I'm not really sure, I would sell him, especially because that's going to free up more MT for you to use to upgrade other spots on your team. And then you can kind of go as you wish with Gary, Ja, and Dame. You could start one of them at point guard, whether that's Gary or Dame, and then bring Ja or the other one off the bench, and then put the last one in the last 3 if you want to use that card as well. But I definitely would run those 3 guys at the point guard position, so that then you can move Michael Redd to shooting guard. You can run in Michael Redd and Cliff as your shooting guards. Then that frees you up to have more flexibility with your small forward position, and etc. So what I would say, the team that I probably would go with right now is Gary Payton, Michael Redd, Mikal Bridges, Carmelo Anthony, KG, and then you have probably Dame, Cliff Hagan, Jonathan Isaac, somebody at the 4, and then Al Horford as your backup 5 while you're trying to get that Cliff Robinson card. If you get Cliff Robinson, he replaces Al Horford at the backup 5, and then you can run whoever you want in the last 3. But I would definitely sell Trey. You could run, for example, Ja in the last 3, and then if you still like this DeAndre Jordan card for his inside presence or whatever, you could run him in the last 3 as well. But I would sell Matisse, and I think one other thing you could do if you wanted to make a change to this team is you could run Mikal Bridges at the backup 3, and then Jonathan Isaac at the backup 4, and then you could pick up a guy like an AK. I personally think AK is still the best lock in the game. He's one of my favorite small forwards, if not my favorite small forward in the game, and arguably, I just think he's an incredible card and definitely has a spot on your lineup. Highly recommend picking up the card. You could play him at the 3. You can move Michael Redd to the 2, run Gary at the 1, have Dame and Cliff off the bench, and then go Mikal Bridges at the 3, Jonathan Isaac at the 4, and then Al Horford at the 5 until you get Cliff Robinson. And I think that's probably the best 10-man that I could build you right now without spending a ton of MT, and definitely gives you the flexibility to still plug some other guys in that you enjoy using. But that's kind of my recommendation for this squad. Next team today comes in from my guy Dave. Starting small forward is Masked AK, so that plugs in there. He's got Penny, KG, D-Rob, and Marcus all badged. He's looking to find a better power forward so KG can play backup center, and I kind of agree with that. As much as I like the Swain card, I think KG gives you a lot more overall on the court in terms of his ability to play that center position. You've got Penny and Ja, which I'm totally cool with. Marcus Smart, I like that you're running him with Penny because you're running him with a big point guard, so he's kind of the small guard on the court, and he's also super solid defensively, so I'm cool with that. He says Dame is coming in for Ja. I also like that. I think Dame is a better version of Ja. And then he's running, he has AK at the 3, and then Rocco and Jonathan Isaac at the backup 3 and 4 is super solid. I think you could probably switch Rocco for Mikal Bridges. I prefer Mikal Bridges, but they're close. I think it's really up to you in what you want to do there. He says he's grinding for Red as well to play the shooting guard position, so I'm not going to touch your shooting guard position right now, especially if you have Marcus Smart badged. As much as I think you could look to potentially upgrade for Marcus Smart at some point if you wanted to, but I think he definitely can get the job done for now if you get Michael Redd as well to play that shooting guard position. So looking for a better power forward option. I will say I think your options are kind of limited in terms of legitimate upgrades, but the one guy that I think really might be a good option is a guy like Dolph Chase. He's not incredibly expensive. I think he's decently expensive, but I think you could especially get the unmasked Dolph Chase for a reasonable price, and if you can pick that card up, I think you're going to really be sitting in a nice spot with your squad, because you can plug Dolphin at the power forward, move KG to the bench, sell Wang, and then I think you're really going to be sitting pretty sitting well at that point, and I think that'd probably be a smart move to probably upgrade your squad most effectively is picking up a guy like Dolph. I think he's probably the best option if you're available options to improve your squad overall at that power forward position. Next team today comes in from AntMan. He's got 250k MT, plays on current gen, and Dame will be replacing Trey soon. So definitely support that. If you're grinding for Dame, if that's the first thing you're doing, you might as well sell Trey now. Also, as much as I like Donovan Mitchell at this point, sell him as well. And then Richard Jefferson, same. I don't like this Richard Jefferson card too much. I don't know how much he goes for, but he's going to be worth selling because you can pick up a guy like Jonathan Isaac to replace him for 1.5, 2000 MT, who's just going to give you as much value on the basketball court, if not even arguably more. Besides that, Gary and then Dame, once you have that, that's a great point guard duo. Harden is great. I would pick up Andrew Wiggins. I think you have the MT to be flexible enough to pick up a guy like Wiggins, and I think that's a phenomenal upgrade for your team, is to pick up a guy like Wiggins to play that backup 2 or even start at the 2. Bridges is great. Rocco is super solid. I would definitely pick up Jonathan Isaac for the backup 3 to replace Richard Jefferson. He's much cheaper, and I think honestly he's as good or better of a card. Nick Batum is fine, and then the center position is definitely a position that you could upgrade. I highly recommend upgrading either Miles Turner or Josh Smith. I'm assuming you prefer Turner. I'd probably move Turner to the bench, sell Josh Smith, and pick up a guy like George Mikan. Mikan is cheap, and he's an elite center option, one of the best centers in the game still to this point, and I definitely think that that's an upgrade that I would consider making if I was you, just because I think that's one of those things that could really help out your squad as a whole, is picking up a guy like that at the center position. So pick up Andrew Wiggins, pick up Mikan, pick up Jonathan Isaac instead of Richard Jefferson, or even you could go in the direction of AK, for example, if you wanted to go with an even better upgrade. You could start AK at the 3, bring Bridges off the bench at the 3. You could even sell Batum and replace him with Jonathan Isaac to save some more MT. You got some more flexible options that you can do, but definitely would pick up a Wiggins, pick up a Mikan, replace Trey with Dame, and then do something with this small forward, power forward position, whether that's AK, Jonathan Isaac, or even a combination of both. Next team today comes in from Mutt Dad. He's got about 300k to work with. De'Aaron Fox and Steve Francis is solid. T-Mac and Harden, Kevin Durant, Drexler, Giannis, Collins, Hakeem, and KG. Your center position is elite. Hakeem and KG is phenomenal. Giannis is great. This John Collins card is decent, not over the top elite. KD is phenomenal, obviously. T-Mac's really good. Harden is really good. De'Aaron's solid, and Steve Francis is solid as well. So the first thing that I will note is that I would definitely look to upgrade this backup small forward position and potentially even the power forward position. And the way that I would actually come about looking at this, and bear with me, this is going to be a little bit interesting, I think, but I would move KD to the backup 4, pick up a guy like Wiggins, and pick up a guy like AK. You can play them both at the 3. I think they're both elite 3s, and that gives you a lot more, I think, overall balance on your squad. You can run KD off the bench. He can be that elite pick and pop forward. He can also create his own shot and play a bit of defense. But I think that really is the best upgrade for you currently, because that uses that KD that you already have, but also allows you to replace John Collins at the 4 and upgrade your shooting guard, your small forward position with Clyde being upgraded from as well. And then you can sell Batum as well. So you can sell Clyde, sell Batum, move KD to the backup 4, and pick up Wiggins and AK and start or bench whoever you prefer out of those 2. And I think if you make that upgrade, you're going to see an improvement on your team overall defensively, and probably an overall improvement offensively as well. Next team today comes in from Wavy. He's got about 180k. He's willing to sell anybody. Gary and Penny, I think, in all honesty, right now, these are the 2 best point guards in the game, my personal opinion. I think really it's an opinion. There's a lot of good point guards. You got De'Aaron Fox, Steve Francis, people running Ja, people are running Dame, all those guys. You got a lot of options at the point guard position, but I think these are probably the 2 best point guards in the game would be Gary and Penny Hardaway. Harden is great. Kobe, I think, is just a little bit past his elite point in the game. Grant Hill, another guy who was really good when he came out, but I don't think he's worth his price at this point. I'd definitely sell Kobe and Grant. Start AK at the 3. That's the first thing I would do. I think once you do that, you got Gary, Harden, AK, Dolph, and Mike, and you don't need to touch your starting lineup. That's an elite starting lineup. Penny off the bench is great. Batum is decent. And then Miles Turner is super solid as well. And honestly, I think Miles Turner is fine. Penny is fine. I think you could argue that Batum is fine, but I don't know if I would keep him around. It kind of depends on what you want to do. You can even free up more MT if you want to replace him with a guy like Jonathan Isaac. I would definitely go for the backup 3 instead of Grant. I would just pick up a guy like Mikal Bridges. He can play that backup 3, be an elite defender, really nice catch and shoot guy as well. And then at the backup 2, I would go in the direction of Andrew Wiggins. I think he's going to be a pretty expensive purchase, but with you selling Kobe and Grant, you're going to be just fine. You're going to spend about the amount of MT on Wiggins as you'll get from selling those 2 cards, probably even less MT on Wiggins than getting from those 2 cards. So you'll probably profit MT, and I think overall your team will have improved if you pick up that Wiggins, pick up Mikal Bridges for your backup 3, sell Kobe and Grant, and then you have the option to pick up a guy like Jonathan Isaac for Nick Batum as well. But really solid squad. I think if you make a couple upgrades, you're going to be really liking your team. Next today comes in from Harden, or two-way Harden. He says he's poor on MT, but I make MT easy. Got Gary and Dame, Harden and Clay. I would start Clay because I like Clay more than Harden, but these are 2 elite shooting guards. PG and AK is elite. Dolph and Carmelo also elite. Mark and Mikan is super solid. Honestly, the only upgrade I'd make, as much as Marc Gasol is a solid center option, go get yourself a D-Rob. You got the MT. You're going to have the MT if you can make MTs, as you say. If you can get the MT from that, sell Marc Gasol, swap him out for a D-Rob, you're close to one of the best teams in the game at that point. I think you're getting to the point where you could argue you're in that best team in the game possible territory if you make that upgrade to D-Rob. But I do think D-Rob is the best center in the game, honestly, by a relatively significant margin still. I just think D-Rob is elite and kind of has that next level over everybody else currently. So for me personally, that's probably the one upgrade that I would look to make, is pick up a guy like D-Rob. Besides that, I think your team is looking super solid. Last team today comes in from my guy Vishnu. He's got about 170k on current. JD's running John Steve, which is solid. Harden and Matisse, Silas and Bridges, Batum, Detlef, Dolph, and Wang. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how good this Detlef Shrimp card is because I literally haven't looked at him yet. So before I just tell you whether or not to keep him or replace him, I'm going to take a quick look at the card. He's got solid offense, good shooter, decent speed, can dunk, balanced defender. He's got badges. He's a great shooter, Hall of Fame catch and shooting sniper, comes with gold limitless. His jumper is good. Yeah, card is fine. He can definitely play. So Detlef is super solid. I definitely keep him there. Mikhail and Silas is great. Harden I like a lot. Your point guards are fine. I would definitely replace Matisse if possible. In all honesty, to free up more MT as well, I would probably sell Batum. And then you can run Isaac and Shrimp as your 4s. Run Shrimp at this 4 and Isaac as your backup 4. So that means your 3s and your 4s are fine. Your point guards are fine. Your starting shooting guard is fine. And actually, you could pick up a guy like George Mikan as well to play that center position. Mikan is cheap. He's a really, really good card. You can move Dolph to the bench. You'll have 2 super solid centers. I know that admittedly, Dolph is a bit undersized the center, but you're already running him there, and I believe he's having success with it. So that's probably the one thing that I would look to do right now is pick up George Mikan. Definitely probably sell Matisse, sell Marcus Smart, sell Batum. So that just frees up a little bit more MT for your team. And then besides that, the only upgrade to make, I think, would be a guy like Andrew Wiggins. I've recommended him for a lot of teams today, and I think that he is a super, super elite card. Did a gameplay on him yesterday, by the way, if anybody wants to check that out to see what that Wiggins card gets into, because he's a super nice card. But I definitely think that he would be a great upgrade for your team. Overall, help you on the defensive and the offensive end of the court. So that would give you a 10-man of what? Ja, Harden, Silas, I guess Shrimp and Mikan, and then a bench of Francis, Wiggins, Mikhail, Jonathan Isaac, and Dolph. I think that's going to be a really solid squad. Spend a decent amount of MT, but you should have a decent amount of MT left over as well. So that's probably what I would do for this squad. And that is the last squad of the video. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and drop your team under next week's post for a chance to be included in next week's episode. And yeah, that is going to do it for this video, like I said. So appreciate all the recent support, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.